watching. So, hey folks, we're live. Nicola here, joined with Teresa.
Hi, everybody.
And I'm just turning off my devices while we're waiting for everybody to hop on board for another live look at what's going on in the markets with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. We would love for you, first of all, to like and then to scooch on over to the comment section and let us know if there's any coins that you want us to look at or questions that you may have. What should we start with? Should we start with Ethereum, or do you think we should start with the grandmother of
I think
crypto?
we should start with Ethereum. Ethereum's like the Christmas that never happened. We've all been waiting for the frickin' breakout, and it's just not happening. So yeah, let's start with ETH. And
Okay, cool.
let's do it backwards today. Let's start with ETH and XRP, and then we'll go into Bitcoin.
Bitcoin last. Okay, cool, great. Yeah, so here I've just cleaned up my charts for you a little bit here. 2,400, easy to break. Okay, cool. Here we go. We can see a W. So remember this yellow line that's been descending down here. And then, we've sort of got this line here where it's been flattening. So this is a descending wedge where we've touched it a number of times, a descending triangle. We've touched it a number of times and we have a confirmed W. I mean, this wick here has confirmed we have a neckline and we're waiting for a breakout to happen above 2,400, which is the resistance to break for a long. That's what I've put here. And we are waiting on that break. I think, Teresa, what do you think? We talked about this yesterday. We came up in an ascending column, which breaks to the downside more often than not. And if we come down onto the 4-hour, would you say that that's invalidated? Like we broke down, came back up, retested the resistance and support, came back down, but failed to come back down below 2140 to confirm this as a breakout. And now we're trading
I would
sideways.
say in a normal market, that would be an invalidation.
And an invalidation in a normal market.
And yet this market has been anything but normal for the last 3 months. Like it's not performing the way you'd expect a market to perform. We've had so many busted patterns and turnarounds, right? Yeah. So just be aware, when you come into the realm of the deregulated, market manipulation is possible. And when we're in the realm of market manipulation, the big boys are looking for what do people expect? What are people thinking right now? And they're going to do the opposite because they want to take your Bitcoin. So just always have that in the back of your mind, right?
Yeah. But on the positive note,
yeah, I don't mean to be negative. You can still trade this and make lots of money, but just be cautious because the normal probabilities are not always applying in this market.
Yeah, exactly. And so, look, after last night's from yesterday's TA to today, we have formed an ascending triangle, which is a bullish pattern, and we're right at the breakout line. Like we're literally ready to break out. We're at the pinnacle. So within within this hour, maybe on this live stream, give us a like if you want it to break out in this live stream. Up to the time when we print the daily candle, this is going to break out. Is it going to break out to the upside because 80% of the time this bullish pattern breaks upwards, or is it going to be the 20% and break down? So let's have a look at the bullish scenario targets first of all, because with Ethereum, we've got a lot of targets. We've first of all got this first target here of the neckline of the W, which is around 2,400. We want to get above this. Ideally, we want to get to 2,420. Obviously, it depends on when we break out because this is sloping. We want to break out. We want to come back down, retest that line of support. We want to break up above where we originally broke out from. We want to enter along there because then we can ride it up to 3,282 is the target of the W. However, the monthly triangle that we've been in for 2.5 months almost, the target is further up at 3,525. But we have a golden ratio on the market structure at 2,674. So I hope you made a note of all of those targets. Then we've got a lower target here of this, let's have a look. This has changed now. This pattern's changed. So this is the ascending triangle. This is the target of this triangle that we're in right now, about to break out, is literally the breakout of the bigger pattern, breaking above the neckline of the W. So those are all of our targets, and our breakthrough to looking to longing this is 2,400. Now, you know, on this channel, we look at the 4 EMA to see if we have got the stacking of the EMAs at 8. Let me just show you the settings on that so you can see the settings we're using. If you're new, we are looking at the inputs are 8, 13, 21, and 55 EMAs. And you want to make them blue, green, yellow, red, because that is long territory. Now we do have a little bit of a narrowing here with the blue and the green. So now what we want to do is we want to come down into the 1 hour and go, are we still looking bullish? And yes, we are. We're starting to get a passing here. So the time to long, according to this EMA, and by the way, shout out to Crypto Jack for this trading strategy, which has been awesome, was 2295. We're still in play for this. This red candle means we could come back down and retest, no dramas, right? And then come back up again, maybe 1 or 2 times before breaking out to the upside. So we are a little bit bullish here. Then we want to bring in the Ichimoku. And then I'm going to throw it over to you, Teresa, to talk about whether or not we've got any bullish or bearish divergences.
Sounds good.
So the Ichimoku is looking like we're going sideways a little bit. We might get a bit of a dip here. So this is slightly trajectory upwards. We're in green, which is flow. So if we do quietly break up in the next couple of hours, we might, this dip here could be a dip back down into the pattern before we go up, or it could be nothing. We could literally go off the cliff and keep trading sideways until we get to the green Ichimoku. So see how it's gone green, red, green. Teresa, would you say that if we dip, this is a short-term dip, it's not a big retracement?
Yeah, that's probably a within the pattern dip.
Yeah.
So it may simply be signaling we're not breaking out, but we're not breaking down either. So it's still a bullish Ichimoku.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really cool. So when it comes time to the breakout candle, if you're going to trade the breakout candle, which I know Carl from the Moon trades the breakout, which means you get a clear green candle, the bottom of the green candle is above the line. It's not crossing over like this green candle here. It is a clear bottom, clearing that as support. Then what I normally do is I go down into the 5 minute, because I want to see in the 5 minute Ichimoku, am I going to have any reversals? Because I want to enter when there's volume pushing away from where I enter, so I can move my stop loss into profit as quickly as possible. That is my style of trading. And the Ichimoku's, yeah, it's okay. It's looking like we're going to continue to go up. Then I go down to the 1 minute. Am I going to get any, if I was to enter now? So even though that signal flash by, this red Ichimoku on the 1 minute signifies that we still could see up and down, and I want to see nothing but green on the 1 and the 5 minute, so that I know if I enter, I'm going to continue moving away from the entry point and get into profit as quickly as possible. The CM Williams VIX fix on the 1 minute is clip bullish, so this looks like it's getting ready to break out. It's getting ready to give it another go, at least anyway. So that is Ethereum. We are waiting for an entry point above here. That's the bullish scenario, right? 2,400. We get above there, clear green candle, we go to those other the price ranges we talked about. Now, the bearish scenario is if I were to draw the line slightly differently, which I do, like I don't mind having contradictory lines, because it just means that I can get my lines. I can just be aware of what could happen. So if we do the candle,
there's always different traders trading the lines differently.
Yeah, which is actually a good sign, because if everybody was trading the same pattern, there could be way more manipulation than there is.
Yeah.
So if we were to call this a rising wedge or a rising narrowing channel, which is what Bitcoin is in right now. We've got a cup and handles within here, which has kind of got invalidated because we've traded sideways a little bit too long. And that one got invalidated as well. But these rising, narrowing wedges break to the downside more often than the upside. So the target is where the first candle touches the beginning of the support line, which is at around 2,155. And if we go down that far, we have to watch to see if we're going to get a further drop down to, I've got two charts open for you here, down to the CME gap, which is down at around here at 2040. I don't know. What do you think, Teresa? I don't know if we're going to go below 2,165. It's too bullish.
Yeah, my gut is saying too many bull indicators right now, but there are a few contradictory indicators in the market. So, you know, hindsight will always say, oh, we should have paid attention to the bearish divergence. But I think the majority of indicators are looking bullish right now for this one.
Yeah, I think so too. We don't have any divergences on the 1 or the 4 hourly for ETH, do we? I know we have them.
We've got one. It's a weak one. Do you want me to show you really quick?
Yeah, please.
It's normally when you're looking for divergences, you look to the last peak back, okay? But if you look on the daily for ETH, if you look at this peak, this is a higher high back here, and we've got a lower high back here. So we've got an upward trend here and generally a downward trend here. So that is a divergence. Because it's in the highs, it's bearish. If the divergence was in the lows, that would be bullish. But it's not as strong a divergence as if it was from the last high that we just saw. So that might just be telling us we're going to correct back into the pattern before we go out, or it might not play out at all. And it's also not showing up in the stochastics. So it's not a super strong bearish signal, but it is a bearish signal in the market.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think they're important to pay attention to, because if you're entering along and you've got a bear and everything's looking bullish and there is a bearish divergence, it just means that you really want to double check that you have that confirmed breakout before you go, before you get involved in that trade. So that is it for Ethereum. We're going backwards, guys. We're doing Ethereum, then XRP, and then BTC. Hi, Nassim, pump. Nassim wants it to pump. Hey, Kelly's here again. Hi, Kelly. So we are looking at XRP next, right? XRP could potentially have breaking news imminent. This candle here was breaking news about Japan and some kind of collaboration with Japan, and that took off when Japan, I think it was mid-morning of the Japan market, and that was the evening for us because I stayed up to 3 o'clock, I think it was. That happened at like midnight to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So news does affect XRP quite dramatically. Let's come over to the chart that I've done for you, which is a bit of a cleaner chart. And as you know, with XRP, we've already broken out and confirmed the bigger pattern that we were in for a couple of months, and we're way out of that pattern now. We're trading up in the 70s, which is awesome. We're creating higher lows, which is quite bullish here. We're following this line up here. The Ichimoku is looking a little bit kind of wobbly here. We've got the straightening out, and whenever we see this straightening out on the Ichimoku cloud, we can pump up or we could dump down. So what we have to be aware of for XRP is that we're going sideways a little bit too much for comfort for me to then potentially come down and retest 64 cents to have created a Bart-Simpson pattern. So that is what we have to watch out for that. We're going to pull in all the indicators to see which way we're going. But we could call this a bear bull pennant because, and I've actually, let me just take that out for you because I've got a pattern within a pattern, right? This is, and it's just going on and on. Or we could now, hang on, let me redraw those so that we can get more candles touching, and then we can get a breakout time frame we did that, it's not 100%, but let's say we did that, we're breaking out today. We're breaking out by, today for sure out of this pattern, one way or the other. So the other pattern that I had shown you was within the pattern was that we had a little bit of an ascending triangle. So we've got a straight up to the top and a move up to the top, which is confirming this is a bullish pattern within a bullish pattern. And we're looking at 71 cents to break out of, right? To get above 71 cents in the next couple of hours. And then obviously you would trade the breakout. And then there are a couple of targets for this. First of all, we've got the pennant here. So if we broke out on that trend line, we're looking at, depending on where we break out, because this is descending, the longer we take, the lower this price will be. But we're looking at around about 81.9. It was 83 cents a day ago or whatever. But that's around about where that is there, 0.81986. Maybe we might not come all the way down. And then, of course, we've got the smaller ascending. Anything you want to say about this while I'm drawing in the lines, Teresa?
Only that we've got a similar bearish divergence going on in XRP. It's way back in the charts, all the way back to May on the daily and the weekly, but it is there. So, lots of bullish indicators here too, but there's a few that could be signaling we may see a correction or a dip down before we go up. So again, I'm just trading cautiously. I'm keeping a close eye on my trades. And
yeah. So you're talking about we have got higher. We've got
if you look at that high back in May, that's a higher high in the market and it's a lower high on the RSI, right? So often they don't play out as dramatically when there's that much of a time gap in the divergence, but that is a divergence.
Where are you drawing it, Teresa? Do you want to share
what you just did? Yep, what you just did. Come up to the high we are right now. Yeah. Back to that previous high.
Yeah.
Which was the former high, and that was a much higher market price.
Slightly, it's slightly lower. So on the price action, we've got a lower high. So and we've got the opposite on the, So that is something to watch out for. Also with XRP, we've just gone up and up and up without a significant retracement. So that's what we've got to watch out for. If we look at the Ichimoku on the 4-hourly, it's pretty bullish. Like we've got another 8 hours of potentially, there's a bit of a dip here and then we're green, but the 1 hour is more important. Let's have a look at our 4 MA. Yeah, we've got blue, green, yellow, red. So we're looking good there. Let's go to the 1 minute, 1 hour. Yeah, so remember this flattening out here on the Ichimoku. It's all looking bullish, but there is a potential for us to. Oh, that's right. On the 1 hour this morning, there is a bullish divergence. We're going down on the RSI and we're going up on the price action. So that's a different time frame. So we've got a little bit of bearishness on the longer time frame, which means in a few days we could see a correction if we don't see today, which means we could pump, and then that just means we're going to retrace. But we've on the shorter time frames, which means playing out within the next few hours, we have a bullish divergence. So it could take us back to the top of the pattern and potentially break out. So we're looking at. We've got the shorter pattern. If you wanted to do the shorter pattern, would be about 73 cents. So it looks like we're going to come back up and test this to see if we're going to create a lower high, or are we going to go above it and then continue to go up? That's what we need to watch for. But we do have breakout imminent for a long. And then if we
often see when there's a little pattern and a big pattern like that, is the 73 cents is what it breaks out to before it comes back down and retests that line as support and then breaks into the bigger pattern. So that's a very plausible scenario for what we might see play out in the next couple of days. We just need to be keeping an eye on there is a bearish divergence on the long-term time horizon.
And not only that, Teresa, it is Thursday, and often on Thursday night when the Chinese market comes on board, if we've been pumping or trading sideways, sometimes they'll push the market down to get back in at lower prices. So if that doesn't happen on a Thursday night, it usually happens on a Friday or Saturday when we go into weekend trading. So we're going into, the tenuous price manipulation, 3 days. So this is where you be very careful and you make sure you've got tighter stop losses if you don't want to risk your capital, and if you're really clear on what the Fibonacci levels are of support and resistance, you can make the bigger risks. Because here's the other thing, and then we'll finish up on XRP and go to Bitcoin. We're on, see this, when I did the swing high to swing low of this actual movement of this candle here for the pole, we got a golden ratio at 69.85, and we're trading just on it and just above it. So this is we've been doing that for a day now, which is confirming that this is a support line. So it would take a lot to break to the downside, because when you've got support and resistance lines at the golden ratio, they are more significant to break above and more significant to break below. So that's in our favor, right? So on this chart, I'm looking at this next Fibonacci line as well to break above if we're going to get those higher prices of 73.86 cents. So those are your targets. It's looking bullish. We've just got a cautionary tale to not get carried away and make sure we've got confirmed breakouts in order to enter the trade, and then get your cracking cryptocurrency Ichimoku Cloud on your TradingView chart, link for TradingView below if you're not in TradingView already, and then come down to the 1 minute so that you can see, are there any surprises before you enter? And if you can see a decline in the red and it's not green, you might want to wait a little bit and just watch it to get a good entry point so that the price starts to move away from your entry as soon as you enter. Bitcoin. Do you want to talk about Bitcoin on the 4 hourly?
Yeah, well, the first thing to notice is Bitcoin has a stronger, let me just share my screen for a minute and then we'll flip back to you. Bitcoin has a stronger bearish divergence going on than the other two coins, right? It's tighter in time horizon. And if we look at this high and this high, they were both lower highs than what we're seeing in the market right now. So I think there's a higher probability that we're going to see Bitcoin come back down into the pattern here before we see massive breakouts. That said, we might break out and come back around. This has been a month of busted patterns, right? The other big thing, I know lots of traders talking about this, lots of traders waiting for this. This is the hash ribbons backtest indicator. I always pay attention to this one on the longer term horizons. I keep this one up on my daily time horizon, because usually when we get the buy signal on that indicator, it's game on for the bull run. And because that's the rate at which the miners are hashing, that has a really strong impact on the price of Bitcoin, right? So usually we get a heating up in the greens. If you'll notice the way it usually works, we usually get a heating up in the greens. And then at some point after that, we'll get this blue buy signal. And that's, most cases, there is one of these buy signals before the bull run really starts moving, right?
And we haven't got that yet, right?
We haven't got that yet, right? So, but what we do have happening is this, the indicator band for the hash ribbons is starting to narrow. And usually once it narrows is where we get the buy signal, right? So as soon as it dips around. So it's pointing in the right direction now. I'm guessing right about the time as the Saturn retrograde.
You read my mind. You read my
So,
mind. I was going to show them that next.
yeah, so that's why I'm like, flip over and show them the Saturn retrograde, because these are looking like they're pointing into the same time horizons, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for those of you who are new to our channel, we'd love for you to subscribe, hit the bell, click all. And if you've been following our daily TA, you'll know we're following this fractal of Saturn retrograde. Saturn retrograde, the concept of Saturn retrograde or any planet when it goes retrograde, you've probably heard of Mercury retrograde, is that the magnetic structure of universe shifts, and human psychology and human behavior often shifts or changes its pattern in accordance to the magnetics. So we know that the magnetics of the moon and the full moon and the high moon and the king moon and all that kind of thing affects the different tides. We've got king tides, low tides, high tides, right? Well, Saturn is the planet that rules business, finance, and often when Saturn goes retrograde, we've seen stock markets crash or dip at least, and then be very slow to recover. So Saturn retrograde's got this reputation for retarded speed. So what we've got here in the purple below is 2020 Saturn retrograde, entered on the 10th of May and dipped. Down the bottom here on the left, if you follow my cursor, it dipped quite substantially, traded sideways within quite a big range for a month. We hit July, we tightened up how high we went and how low we went. And then when we got out of that, we came down just a little bit more and then started slowly coming up. And then we hit a point where we did a Bart Simpson, straight up, straight across, down, slightly higher than where we started, and then kept going during Saturn retrograde. And then when Saturn went progressive, which means it just tipped its axis and the magnetics changed again, we started to go slightly up, down, like just a normal fluctuation. But then a week after we went progressive, we started our bull run last year that just kept going up until we got to the all-time high. And then we got into price discovery and created more and more all-time highs. I'm going to redo this for you tomorrow, so make sure that you subscribe and get the notification to tune in tomorrow. But at the top is 2021. We entered Saturn retrograde 13 days later than last year, but we got the same dump, right? A week of dumping. Excuse me. And then we traded sideways in quite a big range, right? We've been trading around about 30,000 to 40,000 with some wicks up and a wicks down. We tightened the trading range. We got tighter and tighter and tighter. So in terms of the time that we head up in this bull run, have I got the whole thing there? No. That we're putting the time somewhere between the 2nd to the 8th of August. So sometime next week, starting Monday, which is usually a bull run day, we could start seeing an upward trend that would lead to a huge spike. And in terms of predictions, we could start seeing this Bart Simpson happen on a Saturday or the following Monday, because every now and then we do get a pump on a Saturday morning. And then we'll start trading at these higher prices for until, end of September, October, dump back down. Incidentally, I've got the 15th of September, which is a potential dump, which incidentally has confluence with the Shemitah year, which is a Jewish calendar that observes cycles of 7, and every 7-year cycle, starting around September, there is often a stock market dump. And if the stock market dumps, often the crypto market dumps, but the crypto market recovers faster. And that's exactly what could happen again on the chart. So that's really interesting. But bottom line is, Teresa, we're going to come sideways a bit, maybe go up, come sideways, come down and go back up again. But the bottom line is that super cycle that we keep talking about is looking like it could start in October, right around when we're going to be doing our Conscious Crypto event.
Yeah.
which early bird tickets
those
run
of you
out.
who are wanting to trade the super cycle like a ninja, get signed up for this event, because we've got all our favorite experts and favorite YouTubers here talking about it. Oh, Nicola's got the page up. Over to you.
Yeah, the link for this is below. The early bird special, the opportunity for you to save a lot of money ends on Saturday. And this is not an event where you're going to have a whole lot of speakers just waffling on. This is an event where we're workshopping. You're going to have workshops where you're going to learn things that our YouTubers can't say or don't say on YouTube. And so you're not going to be able to get this information for free. You're just not, right? And those that invest in themselves are going to get the edge, the leading edge for this next market. And we know this because we've spoken to them. And the whole point of it is to get you ready with the right coins, the right strategy, knowing technical analysis, looking at where we're going in the super cycle. So, because this super cycle is going to create millionaires, multimillionaires, and billionaires. And if you want to increase your level of wealth, you're going to want to be there, and you really want to get all of the learning. We've talked a lot about the speakers. If you go over to the website, you'll see it there. And make sure that you get your ticket today, if not by Saturday. Otherwise, if you drag your feet, you're going to pay more for it. So let's go back to Bitcoin. I redid the lines here for Bitcoin on this chart to just make it really simple to see that we are in an upward trend, but we're teeter-tottering around doing another retrace. This is, if we call this a rising narrowing wedge, breaks to the downside, could come back down to where the candle touches at 35,357. But just as for XRP, this could also be a Bart Simpson, right? So just watch for that. It may not be, but we just want to watch for that when we're entering into a long. So that's like a clean overview. If we bring in if we bring in 4MA, got this bearish divergence on the 4 hourly. So we could keep going up a little bit and then come down, but we're still looking bullish. We've got green, blue, green, yellow, red. If we go down to the Ichimoku cloud, this is how my charts start to look like, pick up sticks. It's looking like we could see a bit of a dip before we start coming back up again. So we could retrace a little bit. And then if we go to the 1 hourly, the little dip that we're showing might just be a small retracement, right? Or we might wick down out of here. So if I go over, oh, look, we just pushed a green candle there. So let's see, it's right on the hour. The next hourly candle, oh, flipping red again. Well, it's having a bit of indecision. Let's go to my chart that I use for myself with the pickup sticks. And let's just take some noise out of here for you. In this rising wedge, we've had a cup and handles, which has kind of been invalidated because that's a bullish pattern. That didn't happen. But now we're trading within this lower highs and higher lows, just waiting to see if this candle goes below 39,451. It could fall to the next fib line and just wick itself out, or it could all go all the way down to 38943. And we've talked about not shorting this, Teresa, right?
Yeah, I think there's just too many contrary indicators right now. So personally, I'm not shorting, but it does look like it's starting to break down. If you're watching your trade carefully, that is a tradable short, but it's a little bit higher risk than most shorts in my view.
It's higher risk because we've got a lot of support lines that it could wick down to and not trade down to. And by that, I mean, all of a sudden it could just fall before you even get out of it. Boom, it's wicked all the way back up to just above your entry, which means you're in the red. Right?
Sometimes not losing your Bitcoin is the best strategy. In other words, like waiting. And I know it, like, we're programmed as human beings to always be looking for, like, what's the trade? What's the trade? And when you see the traders who make the most money, like I love Chris at Crypto for this, one of our speakers at the Conscious Crypto event. He always says, I'm trading or I'm waiting. I'm trading or I'm waiting. but the waiting is sometimes the most important part of trading, is the understanding whether a trade's worth taking or not, right? And you've got to create that rule book for yourself.
Yeah. We just had a question about the event, by the way. It's online on Zoom. So we've got people from all over the world. Next year, we're hoping it'll be here in Costa Rica where we are. One of the things we need to be aware of is we have been trading within these patterns. We get to this resistance around 40,900, and then we've reversed back down up here. And then in this area, we weren't even touching it, right? So we didn't even get anywhere near it. And now we're pushing on it. We're knocking on its door. So if you want to long this is a really big pattern. I'd wait for the breakout above here. Above 40,900 and get a clear confirmation, and then at least look at what happens when we hit 43,564, which is the golden ratio of the market structure, because we could get a little bit of a retracement. What could happen actually, Teresa, is that we break out, rally all the way to the golden fib, come back down, retest this as support, and then boom, we're off and away, right? But it could still take a few more days, especially because we're going into weekend trading. CME closing Friday, opening Sunday could create a gap. To me, I'm waiting on the sidelines for the bigger moves, because I don't want to lose capital and then have not enough to put in a really large trade for these huge movements. And if we go down onto the 4-hourly, you will see all the targets of where we could stop. No, it's 1 hourly. Along the way, we could stop off at, some of these have already played out. We could stop off at 40,862. We could stop off at 40,951, which these are rejection points that we need to break through. Then we've got the golden Fibonacci ratio of the actual movement of this whole section of the trade at 41,485. And then we've got some targets here at 43,000. 43,661 is the golden ratio of the entire move. So if I come back down here on this and look at this cup and handles, I don't know. I mean, this still could be valid. If we break to the upside from here, remember these kind of patterns, these rising wedges break to the downside more often than they break up, then that would actually be the first tradable pattern in this cycle. So these are the lines that I've already got in the other chart. I'm just drawing them in for you now so you can see what I'm doing. And that would be, well, we don't know where this is going to break out, right? Because the higher we go, the higher that breakout's going to be. So all of those prices I gave you are variable on where the breakout is. 43,365. We're following this. So you follow us daily. You can trade this with us. So that is that. We've got a green candle now. Could come all the way back up to the top of this. Let's look. However, the other pattern that I'm watching, which was on the other, is this here. That is a symmetrical triangle. And what's a symmetrical triangle, Teresa? You're the one that did the chart for me.
It's usually a continuation pattern. So we've been going up, so you'd normally expect to go up again.
Yeah, exactly. So we're looking for a breakout here. If you're an experienced trader, you could actually trade the breakout here or trade the next green candle upwards if everything's looking good and following it up. The only reason why I wouldn't do that right now is because we've got that bearish divergence that's hanging over our heads, and we're going into weekend trading, which means volume isn't going to be there. So we could just slowly go up. And the Ichimoku is flattening out, right? So I would be waiting for the bigger trades. And we're going to follow that because we're getting online tomorrow, right? So you want to subscribe, hit the bell, click all so that you get notified when we go live. Not only that, if you're new to our channel, we actually teach technical analysis when we're doing our live streams. And Teresa, do you want to talk about all the different video tutorials we've got?
Yeah, we, we're focused on helping you learn to be a better trader, more so than just giving you the trading signals. So that's why when we give you trading signals, we're talking about why we're saying what the probabilities are each way, right? And in our world, the elements of being a successful trader include understanding technical analysis and how to use the platforms. So we've got playlists like Bybit tutorials and Phoenix tutorials and how to use them. We also believe that mindset is 80% of being a successful trader. So we've started to develop playlists around mindset. We've got sleep affirmations for traders and different mindset videos Nicole has done and different conversations on mindset in those videos. We also talk about the scenarios that could affect the price action of Bitcoin. So like Mercury retrograde does affect the price of Bitcoin. Saturn retrograde does affect the price of Bitcoin. There's lots of evidence in the charts to say that's true. So we do videos on that too. So you can understand, are we in the major breakout where I should be holding my trades open for multiple days? Or is this a time period in which I should be scaling my trades down and doing tighter time frame trades?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're talking a lot about strategy on this channel as well. And certainly we're going to be giving you lots of really good strategies at the Conscious Crypto event online on Zoom with amazing people like Crypto, Da Vinci J, Michael Rosmer from Offshore Citizen is all about maximizing your profits by minimizing your taxes by going offshore. Bitcoin families, Didi Taihutu. Oh, by the way, we don't know whether we're going to go live or record on Monday, but we're interviewing Didi Taihutu, who has 100%, if you don't know him, created a life of no fiat currency and no banking. Now, at the event, he is going to be talking about, where is he? He's going to be talking about automating indicators for sure, but he's going to be talking about Bitcoin bankless and borderless. That is going to be an amazing panel that we're talking about there. And we're going to give a little bit of snippets of what's to come in the Conscious Crypto event coming up when we interview him on Monday. So again, make sure you're subscribed and that you have clicked the bell and clicked all, because we will be posting whether or not it will be an uploaded video or whether or not it will be a live video. So then you can ask questions and everything from him. But we're really excited. A great bunch. We've got Crypto Wendy, who's really good with going from altcoin to altcoin to altcoin, like following the altcoins, getting out when they top out, getting into one that's about to go, getting out of that when it tops out and getting into another one when it's about to go, so that your trajectory of your profit just keeps going up and up and up without dropping down and dipping down. And she calls that moonbagging your altcoins, which just sounds amazing. And she's going to teach you all about that at this event as well, which she does not teach on her channel. Everybody's going to be teaching stuff that you cannot get on their channel. So have a look at the website, get your ticket. Saturday's your last day to get it before the price goes up. So we hope you take advantage of that. And we'll meet again tomorrow. Yeah, there's no questions here. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us today, guys. And until next time. Great.
Consciously. Cool. That was good.